In the end, Drisya disappeared long ago. Tired of vainly searching for him, I have completed this novel based on whatever information I have been able to piece together. I haven't been able to stick to the traditional style of most novels since this is the story of a man's life. After completing my novel, I went to spend the evening at a restaurant in Tamil. Soft music was playing at the bar. I was listening to it when my mobile phone rang. From the number, I could tell it was a stranger. Hello, said the woman's voice. Is this Narayan? Yes, Namaste, I am Jamini, she said. I came from the States a few days ago. I need to meet you. What for? She didn't want to tell me. You are the editor of a newspaper, she said. I think you'll be able to help me. I told her to come to my office later, but she insisted we needed to meet right away. She said she wasn't staying long in Kathmandu. What harm was there in meeting her? After all, journalists meet many people. I told her where I was and asked her to join me there. After I hung up, I called my office. Is there anything urgent? I said. I asked. I was told there have been no big developments, just a few small classes in a few small places. That was nothing new. A dozen dates every day had become routine. The opinion pages were complete. I had time to spare. Of course, I could be called back to the office at any time. The nature of my work was unpredictable, but I felt I could indulge myself a little. My gin, tonic water, and lemon slices arrived. I asked the waiter to turn up the volume of the music. He went to the bar to do so. Outside, the streets seemed deserted. There were not many tourists in Tamil these days. I hadn't brought anything to read, not even a magazine. The Economist was bringing out a double issue the next week. The International Herald Tribune was too expensive. There hadn't been many international newspapers in the South downstairs, so I had decided not to read at all. But it was difficult sitting there doing nothing. Brisier's disappearance and shaken me to the core. Drisier's disappearance had shaken me to the core. I was glad I had finished my novel. At last, I'd finally have some free time. I could start reading books again. I decided I would go to a bookshop after my drink. I wondered if there were any new books worth reading. In our country, book review don't influence readers. We don't have good reviewers, and good books too are hard to find. A society without good writers is intellectually bankrupt. I had always wanted to write a book, but I'd never have written this one if Drisse hadn't given me the inspiration to do it. One day, I had asked him, what kind of book do you think I should write? Write a book you have never read before, he said. In this case, I said, I'll write about you. I've never read a book about an artist like you. He laughed at the idea. So you want to write my biography? Don't be stupid, I told him. There are already plenty of biographies of artists. Lust for Life about Vincent van Gogh is my favorite. The Van Gogh has a great artist. I am not comparing you to him, I said. I just mean I have never read a book about an ordinary artist. By ordinary, I mean someone like you, whose background's like mine. If I wrote about you, I'd feel like I was telling my own story, sharing my own experiences. All right, he said. What would I have to do? Just give me a few interviews, I said, setting a condition, until I am satisfied with the materials. Don't include too much about my love life, he laughed. So you think of yourself as a romantic? Don't I look like a romantic? I've seen you fall in love. True, I have fallen in love, but it would be better if you didn't delve too deeply into that. How could I write about you without mentioning your love life? I had asked. Love's the piece of a novel. You mean you want to write a novel based on me? Your life isn't any less dramatic than a novel. That depends how you see it, he said. But why do you want to keep your love life out of it? I asked. Without that, I won't be able to write a good book. So you really think I am a good lover? You are, but an unsuccessful lover. He laughed. If you make my love life public, no woman will ever come near me. Don't worry, I'll cast you in the best possible light. I'm just kidding, he said. I want you to write the truth. I'll help you. If I lied to you or left things out, your writing won't be honest. I'll be completely open with you. I finished the first draft of my novel on a cold February night. By then, I had interviewed Drisha many times and made many changes, but I still felt something were missing as I wrote. I became more and more intrigued by Drisha. I asked him to talk about himself time and time again, but on several topics Drisha didn't have the time to talk to me at length, and I was worried my novel might feel incomplete. I didn't interview anyone except Drisha. It was his story, after all, and told from his perspective. How the other characters appear was entirely my responsibility. I had constructed them purely from snippets of information Drisha had given me. I understood I might not have done them justice, but then all written works are incomplete. Something is always missing. There's always more to add. Though my novel was about Drisha, I felt that even his character wasn't fully developed. That didn't surprise me, though, because I had merely presented the Drisha I knew. I never met PALPASA. If I had, I might have been able to tell her side of the story as well. That would have given my novel another dimension. The period in Brisse's life described in my novel was intimately linked to his meeting PALPASA. Even Dricia's dream project was named after her. If PALPASA hadn't met an untimely death, I would have met her someday. I would have liked to have met her. I was intrigued by Dricia's description of this girl who was so independent in her outlook. Dricia had never left the subcontinent, while Palpasa had seen the world. I could imagine the conflicts this might create in their relationship, but such conflicts are always interesting. I would have liked to explore them further. I was still in touch with Fulan, but she had changed. She lost her smile the day Dricia was taken away. She called me just a few days ago asking if I had heard any news of him. If Dricia doesn't come back soon, Fulan might have to go back to her village, and there she might have to join the Maoist. They are still asking for one recruit from each household. It was Fulan who told me Kishore had gone overseas after all. Before he left, he told Fulan he wanted to start a relationship with her when he got back. What did you tell him? I asked. I told him I wasn't interested. She said, I don't want a relationship now. It seems that Shirin, the photographer, is Dricia's closest friend in Kathmandu. He's very busy though, and it's been difficult for me to contact him as he spends months at a time overseas. To write more honestly about Dricia's experiences, I probably should have trekked through the hills as he did, but I'm a busy man. I don't have time for a long trek like that. I still didn't know a few basic facts about Risha. How did he come to be sent to boarding school in Kathmandu? How did his parents pass away? What had made him an artist? What did he start loving solitude? I didn't know about his school or his college days or the things that shaped him then. Many aspects of his life remain a mystery to me. I viewed those aspects like the empty spaces in a painting, just as paintings do. This novel leaves some empty space for the readers to fill in with his or her imagination. I know that, aside from meeting PALPASA, the events of 1 June and the journey with Siddhartha changed Drisha forever. Before that, he was just another young man of Kathmandu. He was content just painting. His relationship with Siddhartha certainly couldn't be called ordinary. It's not clear on which route Siddhartha took Drisya or where the two parted. There are very few people I could ask about Drisya. The waiters in the restaurants he frequented don't remember much about him. He had few close friends. If I haven't portrayed him accurately, it's not entirely my fault. His solitary lifestyle plays its part too. I have managed to clear up one mystery though. It's about Christina. I found out why she left Kathmandu so suddenly, without even saying goodbye to Drisya. After Drisya's abduction, I went to the gallery to comfort Fulhan. She was busy at the computer. Realized the management I realized she managed Drisya's mailbox for him. She replied to most of the emails he was sent. Drisya was so busy that sometimes he didn't reply emails for months. Fulan looked tense that day. It looks like Drisya changed the password to his email account, she said. He was using the old password till the night before he was taken, but now it's not working. Wait, I asked if I could try a password. She got off the chair and I sat down. I asked what words are most precious to him, and I typed Palpas Cafe. The account opened. Fulan was relieved. It didn't feel right for me to read Drisya's email, so I got up and she sat down at the computer. Look, she exclaimed, pointing at the monitor. There are so many emails from Christina. Is it all right to read what she has written? I asked. Of course. We have to tell her what's happened. Right, open them then. I urged her. In one of the emails, Christina had written, You must be wondering why I left without saying goodbye. I thought hard. Should I stay with you or not? Should I forget my boyfriend or not? I was already confused when you come back from the hills, but one day was pivotal. The day I left your gallery in anger. The following day was my birthday, you see. But you didn't wish me happy birthday or give me a present, even though I had reminded you several times. Either you had forgotten or you didn't care. I couldn't say which. But do you know what my boyfriend did? He called from Amsterdam and got the people at the hotel to bring me a bouquet of flowers. He also faxed a handwritten note saying he was thinking of me on my special day. The bouquet and fax were there when I opened my door in the morning. I was so touched. I thought, this time my boyfriend is crazy about me. Then came another surprise, a big birthday cake. That very day, I rushed to the travel agent and booked my flight back home. I hope you think I did the right thing. And if you say you are busy with your paintings, I'll be even more pleased. Forgive me if I have disappointed you. I left the gallery after reading this email. As I thought about this, Gemini arrived at the bar. Namaste, she said. I gestured towards the seat opposite mine. She was of medium height and slim and wore an ash-colored sweater zipped up to her neck. She must have been 21 or 22 or maybe 23 or 24. She hung her handbag over the back of the chair and ran her fingers through her hair. I hope I am not disturbing you, she said. What would you like to drink? I asked. What are you having? Gin and tonic. I'll have gin with Sprite. I'll have gin with Sprite. The waiter arrived and we placed the order. First, Gemini asked about me. She was interested in journalism. She asked about politics, the conflicts, and where I thought the country was heading. Her questions were quite astute. We talked easily like old friends. We ordered another round of drinks, though Gemini seemed engrossed in our conversation. At times, I thought I saw tension in her eyes as if she were searching for something. Finally, she got to the point of our meeting. A friend of mine has disappeared, she said. I know journalists have contacts with the Maoists. I have heard you can help get hostages released. Not exactly, I said. The only thing we can do is exert some pressure through our reporting. I want both, she said. I was hoping you could carry a story and also ask them to release my friend. We don't have two-way contact with the Maoists, I explained. They contact us when they need us. They call from satellite phones, so we can't see their numbers. The waiter approached and asked if we wanted some snacks. Gemini said she wanted to order dinner and looked at the menu. After she ordered, she told me she was studying in America but hoped to come back to Nepal the next year to work on her thesis. Then she returned to the subject of her friend. When I arrived in Nepal, she had been missing for a long time, she said. Where did she go missing? Somewhere outside Kathmandu, somewhere in the west. I don't know. No one knows for sure. Isn't there anyone at her house? Only her grandmother. I was startled. What's your friend's name? I asked Palpasa. It felt as though I had been hit on the head with a hammer. I suddenly felt ill. Palpasa was dead, but her friends and family were still looking for her. They still hoped to find her alive. It was a mark of Drisya's weakness that he hadn't been able to tell Palpasa's grandmother the truth. I had amused. He had told her eventually. He should have. What was I to do? If I didn't tell Gemini what happened, she might find out in the most painful way. The girl didn't know me. She didn't know I had written my novel. No one knew about it yet, but everyone would discover the truth when the novel hit the bookstore. Then they would think I had been less than honest. I turned to the waiter and ordered another drink. Gemini was eating pasta, oblivious to my inner turmoil. I thought maybe Drisya did make the right decision in not telling Palpasa's grandmother. If he hadn't been on the bus, that terrible event would still have happened, and he wouldn't have known what had happened to Palpasa. But no, it was wrong of him not to tell her. Hazurama says Palpasa had fallen in love with an artist, Gemini said. In fact, Palpasa also wrote to me about him and their one-sided affair. What kind of affair? I asked. She wasn't very sentimental, Gemini said, but she was obviously very fond of this man. She wrote that the artist didn't care about her, but she couldn't bring herself to get out of his life. I listened in silence. I kept asking her why she was staying in Nepal for so long. She said she wrote she was beginning to make a new life here. She said she was starting to understand this society and all its complexities. She continued, her original plan was to come to Nepal much later, but one day she quarreled with her parents and decided she wanted a life with no restrictions. She came here in anger. We gave her a big farewell party. She told us she wanted to do something meaningful with her life. We didn't know what she was planning to do, but she looked very determined. She left many friends back in the States. She had both male and female friends, you know. She treated everyone well and wanted to be treated well in return. She stood out in our side circle. She could never live alone yet she left for Nepal by herself. Would you like another drink? I asked. No thanks, I'm really only drinking to keep you company. Am I boring you? She asked. No, I said. I don't drink much either. I get drunk too easily. But hearing your story, I feel like I need another drink. My story or Palpasa's story? She asked. Both. Where was I? Oh, yes, the artist, she said. You know, I met him once in Goa. I even went to his gallery in Kathmandu looking for him, but it was locked. No one in the neighborhood could tell me anything about him. They said the gallery had closed ages ago. I couldn't find out his home address. Hazur Ahmad said the artist came to visit her, and I don't think he and Palpasa left Kathmandu together because he came to see Hazur Ahmad well after Palpasa had gone. Apparently, he didn't seem to know where Palpasa had gone. We know she left Kathmandu with the camera, and we think the Maoists might have abducted her. She told Hazur Ahmad she would be away for quite some time, but it's been months now. Hazurama's really worried. Palpasa was never this unreliable. I'm sure someone must be holding her against her will. Looking at me, she said, I need to find out where she is before I go back to the States. I have to take at least some information to her parents. That's why I have come to you. By then, I had drunk way too much. Without thinking what I was saying, I blurted out, she's not coming back. She looked into my eyes questioningly. Disbelieving eyes pierced like thrones. Maybe the thought I had spoken without thinking. She raised her glass of water but put it down without drinking. What are you saying? She asked. I'm telling you what happened. Which is, what did you understand? That she's dead. I said, yes. She started. She stared at me. How do you know? Not because I am a journalist, I said. So, how can you be sure? Do you have some time to spare? I asked. Why? I'll give you a book. It has all the details. Her lips went dry. Her eyes moistened. Abruptly, she got up and rushed to the bathroom. When she came back, she asked the waiter for a cigarette. Sorry, madam, he said. We don't sell individual cigarettes. Bring us a packet then, I told him. When he brought the packet, she lit a cigarette. I took one too. Gemini exhaled a puff of smoke. I could tell she didn't usually smoke. It was almost closing time. Silence was descending over Tamil. There were only a few people left on the street. In the distance, we could hear policemen banging their batons as they walked along the road. I realized the bartender had turned off the music. Is the book about Palpasa? She asked. What do you think? I'm asking you whether the book's about Palpasa. Do you think I lied to you? But how do you know the book's about Palpasa? She asked. Because I wrote it, I said. She looked at me in shock. For a long time, she didn't blink. Her eyes kept piercing me. I was scared of the look she was giving me. I took a drag of my cigarette, then I exhaled. The smoke drifted towards her. The smoke she exhaled drifted towards the ceiling. The waiter came up to us. Excuse me, sir. We have to close now. The police will be here any minute. Let them come, I said, irritated. I'll talk to them. They will arrest us, sir. They will give us trouble. You are our guest tonight, but we might end up their guests forever. I wasn't pleased, but there was no other choice. Let's go, I said to Gemini. Getting up, she said, can you give me that book now? It's about to go to press, I said, but I can give you the draft. And I handed her the manuscript printed on A4 paper. She took it and looked at it, incredulous. On the first sheet inside the transparent plastic cover was written in big bold letters, Palpasa Cafe.